Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. I accept things the way they are. I accept things the way they are not. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. I love wasting. I love wasting. I get free. I reap abundantly. I already have everything I need. Wonderful is happening to me right now. Don't you feel it? Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Oh yeah, I accept things the way they are. I will. I accept things the way they are not. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Good morning. Welcome to our center. Would you like a program?
Well, tell me what's
Hi,
going on.
I'm Kenzie Brown, and I'm here the fourth Sunday of every month to share my sacred bowls with you. It's a wonderful way to clear any blockages. If you have a headache, it clears it away. It sets you in the perfect mood to receive your light, which is God's light, and for you then to shine that brilliantly for each and every one that comes into your life. It's my honor always to come here and to share my bowls and the music that comes through me to play them. So thank you so much.
Welcome to the center.
Good morning. Everybody's welcome.
Okay, so what you got there? What is this?
This is the last edition of my family. 5 months old Manolo.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Great.
Good morning. If you all would please close your eyes and take a deep breath. Allow this time and this place to be the center of who you are. Feel your body relax and know that you are in the right place at the right time. Hearing these words that are spoken today with an open heart and a loving mind, know that you are loved and you are supported in all that you are and all that you do. If you would, take a few moments to breathe in this knowledge, knowing that you are loved. Just breathe that in. How do we approach others? I heard someone talk about themselves as a stone catcher. What might that mean? In the Bible, Jesus spoke in John 8, verse 7, "Only he who is guiltless may cast the first stone." We all have thrown stones in judgment, persecutions, and punishments of others. Someone who doesn't look at life as you do, or who does not always share the same values. As a stone catcher, how often are you able to catch the stones of others as they project their thoughts, ideas, bullying, and criticisms towards one another? Mercy is a compassionate gesture we often give to people who don't deserve it. Have mercy on you. How do you treat others? We measure the health of our soul by how we treat the poor and the less privileged. not on how much we praise the wealthy and the revered. Think more with your heart and much less with your head. Breathe slowly and feel God within you, and know we are not separate from Him. Reach out your arms and open wholly to that breath, the breath of life that has blessed each and every one of us. Listening is being completely present to all of who we are. What matters is how I approach another. My purpose through my human experience in this lifetime is to release my own heaven here on earth, not to find my heaven here. And so it is.
If I may invite everyone to relax and remain in this state of grace and poise. I recognize that there is divine source, divine power, one life, one mind. That is God, and that is eternal in me, through me, and as me. And I know this is true for each one of us here, listening my voice. I know God is love, God is joy, harmony, God is peace, and I am love. My love is anchored from a place of trust and peace, and not from fear or doubt. I am one with the source that is in me. I am a beloved child of God. I am knowing as I reach inside me, I see the truth. That no matter what I see outside, what forms, sight and sound, what colors, people, events, I see through it, for I know that God is in it. So knowing and affirming life as it is, I am so grateful. I am grateful for the center. I am grateful for all the volunteers who supports and make things happen here. I'm grateful for the ministers of prayer. Grateful for our music. I'm grateful for all the congregants who's here, or the members of our community. I'm so grateful for those who are here for the first time and just learning and sharing with you our love and this energy. I'm grateful for Reverend Dan, Reverend Cheryl, and Reverend Stacy for their total commitment, love and guidance for the center. So knowing I am in this state and affirming that I am beautiful and perfect in my rhythm of life, I am releasing my word to the law of love and action, knowing it is done. I am complete. And together we say, so it is.
Nikki, thank you for your reading. That was from Kenzie's book. There you are. Aldo, thank you for your prayer. It's beautiful. God, and thank the people that helped set up the room for the reception afterwards. Thank you all. I don't even remember who it was. I just said, help! And everyone ran to help. I love how that works. Well, good morning. If you don't, it's on the screen. I'm Reverend Cheryl Bell. I don't speak that often, so some of you may not know who I am. I'm co-senior minister along with Reverends. You're laughing. Reverend Stacy Hilton and Reverend Dan Jerome, my brother and sister there. I use them a lot, and they're there for me all the time. Thank you. All right, let me get my book out here. Put the glasses on. Still working on that glasses thing. Thank you. You know, our theme for the month is open communication. Reverend Dan did a talk a couple weeks ago on from racism to gracism, and gave us a very heartfelt, extensively researched history of slavery that had absolutely nothing to do with America. So I like that part. Reverend Stacy talk title last week was The Art of Inclusion, even though she had that little joke, The Art of Collusion. I told her not to do that, but it's okay. See, she doesn't always do what I say. It was a joke, I know, but you know. But she talked about to tell the truth, to seek first to understand, and then to be understood, and then finally to extend grace. And my talk title this morning is honoring our differences, which to me is just an extension of both of their talks. And I'm going to start with a quote from the Science of Mind textbook, written by Dr. Ernest Holmes, our founder, not of the center, but of the teaching itself. It's titled Unity. Now, our teaching is that man actually has a body, that he actually has a subjective life, and that he actually is a spirit. Body, soul, and spirit represent a point where individuality is accentuated in universality. It is only through this conception that we can arrive at the consciousness of the unity of the whole. In other words, if I have one mind, and you have one mind, and God has another mind, three separate minds, I cannot talk with you, and you cannot talk with me, with God, if your mind and my mind were not the same mind. So each individual, however, is a unique variation in the universe. No two people are alike. And yet all people are rooted in that which is identical. I'm kind of giggling because for the last week and a half, I've been dog sitting. And I have 2 dogs of my own, but I'm dog sitting 2 other dogs, and I'm going to the house like 3-4 times a day. And in the beginning, it was kind of rough, to be honest with you. However, I finally accepted that these 2 dogs are not my 2 dogs. They're not going to act like my 2 dogs. And as soon as I let that go, and as soon as I did let that go and honored who they were in their own environment, we got a rhythm. Finally, a rhythm. They knew, it's like they knew when I was coming and when they were going to be fed. And there's a cat. Did I mention there's a cat? And yes, I'm allergic to cats. However, Miss Molly is her name, and she's very sweet. I don't touch her, but she's very sweet. And I tell that story because I knew that what my talk title was, and I thought about that, and I'm like, okay, I need to honor who these dogs are. I wish I had a picture of them because their names are Oreo and Sienna. One is white and one is black and white. And you will never guess which one's name is Oreo. It's the white one. Not my dogs, but I'm taking care of them. And I do like them. Unity does not mean uniformity. I'm going to quote also from the Beverly Hills Lectures, and this is a little, I don't think very many people know of this book. This was a book we had in ministerial school. This is Dr. Ernest Holmes' talk. He wasn't even a doctor then, but in 1952, he had his little Beverly Hills friends, and they would meet in the living room, and he would just talk about whatever came that he decided to talk about. And so this is some of those lectures, and I'm going to read from the one that was Wednesday, the 20th of February, 1952. It's entitled News from the Kingdom of Heaven, and he's talking about cosmic consciousness. But I'm just going to read the last, it's not the last actually, but It is just a little paragraph in there that somewhere. Unity and uniformity are not the same thing. No two blades of grass are alike. What does that mean spiritually? It means that incarnated within each one of us is not only the divine spark, not only an incarnation of the spirit of the cosmos, but a unique presentation of the cosmic whole. If we can judge the unknown by the known, we have nothing to disprove and everything to prove that this individualization of the spirit is each one of us, rooted in common soil, having the characteristics and potentiality of its common background, contains what the ancients might have called the microcosm. Now I would like for you to just look at the person next to you, to the left and the right of you, and to let you know that you're looking at the divine made manifest. Now I interchange words. There was a time when I didn't like, usually, I was uncomfortable using the word God, but God is my chosen word. So sometimes I say divine, sometimes I say spirit, but I'm just talking about God. So you recognize that in each other, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Uniformity. Unity and uniformity are not the same thing. Not the same thing at all. I'm almost done with my clothes. Isn't that nice? We have, in our practitioner training classes, we have a book by Mark Nepo, 7,000 Ways to Listen. And there's some quotes in here that it's a good, there's not a reading book, it has stories. And we all love stories, so it has lots of stories in there. But Ernest Holmes, in a book that I don't actually have here in the library or in the bookstore, in Thoughts Are Things, and we all recognize that phrase from our Science Mind textbook, is life has set the stamp of individuality on each of you, and you are different from any other person who has ever lived. You are an individualized center in the consciousness of God. You are an individualized activity in the action of God. Do you all believe that?
Yes. Yes.
Do you believe that you are a masterpiece? You're an original, never to be duplicated, ever? And think about that. When we think about, when I was talking to Reverend Stacy yesterday about it, it's kind of a wow for me, because, isn't that like, isn't that a wonderful plan? It's a divine idea, because we were created in the image and likeness of the one, of Spirit Divine, of God, and in order that it can express through each and every one of us. Now, we're all individual. No two of us are alike. I couldn't have planned that. Who could plan that any better? Even though I don't believe God is a who or a he or a she, but what a divine idea. I think that's a good idea. I wish I had thought of it. God created us in His image and likeness, and as Reverend Cynthia, our founder of the center, taught us, we are all that God is. Not some, not part. Just like Aldo's prayer this morning. I am that I am. I am all that God is. That is exciting to me. So you're an individualized expression, you're an individualized expression, and so are you. And you're still all that God is. And then go even further, we're one. We're all one and the same, but not the same, because unity does not mean uniformity. However, do you honor that in each other? Do you honor your differences, or are you expecting whoever to be or do whatever the way you think it should be done? That's a question. A little, we all have judgments. And we all have our idea of how things should be done. But do you ever just turn to someone and ask them the question, what is the question we were talking about yesterday, Reverend Stacy?
What's it like to be you?
What's it like to be you? Have you ever asked each other that? What is it like to be you? And listened? Actually listen and not think of anything, no judgment, well, or you could have done better than that, or I would have done it differently. That would be fun, actually, wouldn't it? Maybe a little scary, but I think fun. That's still a wow to me, because I think it's a divine plan. Reverend Stacy and I, when we finished ministerial school, God, it seemed like forever ago now. 3 years ago, June 20th, right? We, one of our missions was to, not only because of what was going on in the world now and at that time, was to get to know different modalities, different, because we teach that we are a way, not necessarily the way to the one, and that we have an idea, but not necessarily the idea, and we honor all paths to that one that I call God. So in saying all that, there was a mosque opening just down the street. We invited them to come here. They were invited, and God, it was a lot of people actually showed up. We were invited to their grand opening, just to show of support. Last year, we were invited to break fast during Ramadan. Oh my, I still think about that food. It was so good. And we were invited again this year to break fast at the mosque. And this year we went, and we always have curiosities, and Dr. Islam, who is very integral to that particular mosque, because each mosque does not have necessarily a leader per se. We would learn so much many things from him, and he answered a lot of questions that we never asked, but he knows that there are questions that people have about their faith, which is Muslim. And they have different rooms to pray in, one for men and one for women. And he just came up and told us the reason, because the women, they have skirts and dresses on, some of them. So they separate them out of respect for them. So that is certainly honoring their differences. It's not for any chauvinistic reason, just a simple reason of they're wearing dresses and they're kneeling and they're getting up and they're getting down. That's why they're separated. And we didn't know why, because it was odd to us a little that the women were over here and the men were over here. But to have such a simple explanation was kind of refreshing. Yes, Reverend Stephen? We learned so much from them. Stacy is kind of in charge of our Wednesday night service, and we've had Sikhs and rabbis and just a lot of different people just come and share who they are, because we want to honor them. I mean, if we're saying that we honor all paths to the one, we want to learn about those other paths, and we welcome them here. And so we put our, so to speak, our money where our mouth is, and actually did it, not just say we did, Stacey, we were talking yesterday about my talk, and it also came up in honoring differences. It's like, who watches Chopped? Stacey watches Chopped, and when I don't feel like leaving the room, I end up watching Chopped also. And if you think about it, every person, they all get a basket of the same thing, but they all make something different, don't they? That's just a realization I came to yesterday. I think my question to you, and I want you to ask yourself, are you honoring the differences, your differences? And even when you're talking to someone else or anyone, honor them and not prove them wrong or right, or there's no wrong and right. They just are who they are, right? Okay, now the quote from Mark Nepo, which I was kind of probably thinking about not using, but it's on page 184. I'm not sure if we have it in the bookstore. I think we do. If we don't, we will. All of us are roots and shoots in the human garden. As far as we root in the earth is as far as we sprout in the world. Each of us destined to find our particular path to the light. So much deepening in whether we choke each other or not along the way. Depending on whether we choke each other or not. And that's in the chapter entitled The Human Garden. So when I say to listen to them and don't choke them for their beliefs or the way they do things, they being anyone else. Anyone else. Just, are you willing to embrace everyone's unique expression? Hello?
Yes.
Yes. At least attempt to do that. You know, Reverend Stacy, what we do every week after we speak is we do a PS in our e-bulletin. And if you would like to sign up for the e-bulletin, there's a way to do that really easy. Just text something to some number. I'll tell you later. And we get a lot of emails in responses to those PSs and our inspiration station. And now that our talks are on YouTube, we get emails about those things. And we answer them if it's appropriate to do so, but we certainly read them all. So don't be surprised if you get a phone call because I read something you wrote. Jen Goldwasser, who was in Prac 1 training, was her last class here before she started traveling all over the world. But she sent an email in response to Reverend Stacy's PS after her talk on the art of inclusion. And she was just in complete agreement with it. She starts her email with yes, yes, yes. She said, I just had to drop you a quick note to say that I absolutely agree with what you have said here. And this is what I believe is so powerful about travel. Even if that travel is just to another part of your own city. I believe the basis of racism is fear. And so do I. We fear what we don't understand. When we see that someone is different than us, a skin color, sexual orientation, religion, or culturally, so many people feel uncomfortable, and that turns to fear and often to hate. Once you leave the comfort of your little bubble and decide to open your mind and find the world is full of wonderful, fascinating, loving people just like yourself. I embrace all of our differences because I believe it is what makes humanity interesting. How boring would it be if we were all the same? We have been so fortunate to do all of the travel we have done the past few years, and we have always met wonderful, kind people no matter what country we have been in. On that note, our family has volunteered to sponsor an international military officer who is going to officer school in Leavenworth Army Post. She's in Kansas now. I think her house is done. Yeah. Our officer will be from Liberia. Is that how you say it? Mm-hmm. Yes. We don't know that much about Africa, but we are very excited to get to know him and learn about his country, and I hope that we can visit him at some point. Anyway, I'm going to step down off my soapbox now and leave you with one of my favorite quotes. And I'll read you that quote. It's Mark Twain. Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. And many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime. But like Jim said, I mean, just another part of your city. I mean, how many of you, I mean, I know when I first arrived here, we didn't know where not to go. We went everywhere. I mean, sometimes we tell people, oh, we were at this bar doing our homework and on 8th Street, we found this place, and they're like, what? You were over there? I'm like, yeah. No one bothered. They thought we were studying law. We were studying to be lawyers. It was fun. Because Stacy had her grandfather's old science of mind textbook, and I had an old science of mind textbook, so they thought we were studying for our law degrees. Not, I'm going to end with a Bible quote. Well, I think it's a Bible quote. Yeah, it is. Mark 12:31, which everyone knows, I'm sure. I won't say we, but I don't talk from the Bible a lot. But love thy neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. There was another one before it, but I only picked up those two. However, do you love you? Do you love you?
Yes.
All right. Because if you don't, your neighbor doesn't have a chance.
Good.
Your neighbor doesn't have a chance. I know when my mom came to live with me, I knew some of my neighbors, that, the ones I go borrow some sugar from or some vanilla extract because I was baking cookies at Christmas but I didn't know them all. But within a couple of weeks, she knew every single one of them by name. I mean, not to mention she smoked and sat outside and she couldn't see them all. But she was one of those that would just speak to anybody and everybody all the time. And in my whole life, she told me I was related to everyone. So I truly believe that that's what she practiced in her life. And a lot of you knew her, so you believe that, I know. So back to now, modern times, not back to what Jesus was saying, but it makes sense. Love your neighbor as yourself, right? So I would like for you this week to, not even this week, right now, I want you to turn to your neighbor and say, what? I mean, you don't have to do it right now, actually, but today, before you leave here or when you leave here, someone, a neighbor, could be your neighbor next door, could be your neighbor sitting next to you, but I want you to ask them, what is it like to be you, and actually listen. Please, just listen. Don't even come up with a way for them to get rid of this or get rid of that or do this or do that. Just listen and be truly interested from your heart in who they are and how they are. And honor their differences. Honor the differences, because there's going to be some differences. I promise you. And you may be surprised at some of the differences, and if they are willing to share those differences with you. But be open and willing to talk with them about it. Would you agree to do that for me this week?
Yes.
Promise?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all, and I honor all of your differences. Thank you. If you would mind standing and connecting. All right, and if you would like to pray with one of our practitioners, they have their shawls on and they're here as a gift for you today. And thank you. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for this day. I'm grateful for each and every person that showed up to hear how honoring our differences will make this world a better place, will make this a world that works for everyone. I'm grateful to know that each and every person that does not stay for the champagne reception for Reverend Dan and Paco, that they make it to their next celebration with ease and grace. What a marvelous, fantastic group of folks, and a marvelous and fantastic world. And I'm so grateful to celebrate with each and every one of you today. Honor those differences. Honor each other and love yourself. And I just simply say, and so it is.
So it is.
And make it a great day. And let's sing our peace song.